I think this next year is going to be really impactful for the National Football League because the players and coaches are going to be able to get back out in the community, back out, working with kids, working with disadvantaged communities to make a difference. And that's going to be one of the huge benefits of getting past the pandemic.
In my knowledge, I think you're the first team to have a church service in the parking lot for the tailgating fans before the game. How did that come about? And just tell us about the decision to do that.
Well, it's something that we started about 10 years ago. And it was a result of my observing our fan base, which is known for its tailgating and coming to Arrowhead early so that they can get out there and eat some of the best barbecue in the world. But as I watched our fan base do that for many years, they were getting to the stadium at 9 or 10 in the morning on Sunday. We went through a long period where we typically played just at noon. We were rarely the primetime team, and that's changed a little bit here in the last few years. But for a long time, we were always at that noon game. And I know many of our fans were not having a chance to go to church because they were focused on getting to the game early to beat the traffic and tailgate. I was like, boy, wouldn't it be great if we could have a chapel service for them? My dad, about 20 years ago, had built a building on the grounds where Arrowhead Stadium is called the Pavilion. And there was part of that pavilion that seats about, 300 people that we weren't using for events on game days. And so I suggested to our staff, let's try to put together a chapel service and let our fans know if they want to come get fed a little bit before they go back to their tailgate. They can come to the chapel service. We'll have the team chaplain and other people involved in the Christian community in Kansas City, come lead those services. And it's something that those fans I know have really, really enjoyed that opportunity. It's been great for me because I was another one of those fans that was not able to go to church because I was, flying to the game on Sunday morning and then being really busy. So I love being able to stop by that chapel service and get my mind right, I guess, as I would say, before we play the game.
The role of the team chaplain. You guys have a very well-respected team chaplain as well, but you as the leader of that organization, you embrace him. To me, I've come to understand the significant role that they play in speaking to the whole person, these players who may not want to share things with their position coaches, but they will with the chaplain. Talk about the role of the chaplaincy with your organization.
Well, I think you're exactly right. The team chaplain is in a unique position to have a very special relationship with the players. And there may be issues that the players are going through that they don't feel comfortable talking to the coaching staff or the general manager. But that team chaplain has invested in them, and they know they can have a conversation with him and it'll be kept confidential, and that they're going to get good advice from a Christian perspective. So that team chaplain is really, really important.
I'd love to ask you for our viewers. Many would sit there and say, well, I'm never going to own a football team, or I'm never going to be the CEO of an organization, but they may be heads of their families. Now, I'd love for you to talk about how your faith in Christ impacts how you and your wife, Tavia, raise your children and the message you want to get across to them.
Well, I think like any parent, we want our kids to be successful in everything they do, school, sports, other extracurricular activities. But in our household, the number one thing is making sure their relationship with God is where it needs to be. And, my wife, Tavia, has done a magnificent job. And I'm lucky to get to be her assistant. But she's an amazing mother. And, she has made sure that Christ is number one in our household. And that has had such a big impact on our kids from a character standpoint, from making good decisions, making their priorities right. And it's helped them also be better students and better athletes.
Thank you for just letting people get an inside look at a significant and influential owner and one of character. Do you believe that ownership, number one, is starting to reflect how important your collective influence is on society in the way you model yourselves as well, because you guys do have an influence. Your game has an influence on the kind of society that we live in as well.
Well, I think I can speak for the rest of the ownership in the NFL that we understand how important the NFL is and the impact that the league has. And I know that my dad and my brothers and sisters and I take the responsibility that we have as leaders of the Kansas City Chiefs very, very seriously. Because what we do, how we conduct ourselves, we know people are watching and that it makes a difference. And so many of my fellow owners are so committed to giving back to their community. Now, I talked about some of the things that we do in Kansas City, but I think if you could look across the league, virtually every NFL team has made a commitment to giving back to their community.
And Mr. Hunt, my final question before Tony wraps it up is, on that same vein, I've seen Tony and been a part of Coach Dungy and what he's done in talking to players who have a sincere and positive desire to impact their communities positively. And as you look at the NFL going forward, post-pandemic, talk about what role you see the NFL playing.
Well, one of the pillars of the Kansas City Chiefs mission statement is to unite our community. I personally enjoy getting to speak to our rookies, which I do every year at our rookie minicamp, welcome them to the franchise, tell them a little bit about the history of the Chiefs. And a big part of that history is making a difference in the community and really uniting that community. I'll then reinforce that message at training camp when we have the entire team and staff together, because I want them to know that winning football games is important, but that's up there with it as well. We've got to make a difference in the Kansas City community. I think this next year is going to be really impactful for the National Football League, because the players and coaches are going to be able to get back out in the community, back out, working with kids, working with disadvantaged communities to make a difference. And that's going to be one of the huge benefits of getting past the pandemic.
Clark, I'd just like to finish my segment by saying one of my mom's favorite verses in the Bible was Matthew 16:26. What would it profit a man to gain the whole world if he forfeits his soul? And your dad exemplified that. You've exemplified that. And you guys have gotten that across to an organization for 50 plus years. And I just want to say thank you for that. And continue to do that. Continue to let your light shine in Kansas City. It's been amazing, and we appreciate it so, so much.
At TBN, our mission is to use every available means to reach as many individuals and families as possible with the life-changing gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you for helping make the gospel of grace go around the world.
Without you, we couldn't do it. God bless you.